are powers on Earth too hidden to be seen, and conspiracies too vast to comprehend. For years, the world has seen fact distorted, reality manipulated, and the truth concealed. Join the Pierre Sebak podcast to uncover the real meanings behind ancient aliens and their symbolism.
Hi, this is Pierre Sebak, unlocking the keys to the mysteries. Now, today's presentation, I'm going to look at the question of why the ha-elohim are not human. And this came about as a result of one of my YouTube subscribers. And they commented and made a reference to the fact that they thought that the Elohim were human based upon the biblical passage from Genesis. So God created man in his own image. And I obviously wrote back in the comments and I stated that there are good arguments to state that actually the Elohim, when we deconstruct who and what the Elohim are considered in the ancient languages to be an extraterrestrial race. Now, the symbolism for this is actually very complicated, so I wanted to go into a great deal of depth and detail to put forward the argument why I actually think that the Elohim can be construed to be the same type of species as the seraphim. Now, obviously, the idea that the Elohim are human is very, very common. So I really wanted to try and look at some of the textual and also the etymological evidence why it can be considered that the Elohim are non-human. So first of all, I think we'll go to the biblical passage, and I think many researchers, when they're looking at the question of who or what the Elohim are, they obviously address the biblical passage which is given in Genesis chapter 1 verse 27. Now this states, "So God created man in his own image, in the image of God created him, male and female created he them." So ostensibly, certainly from the biblical perspective, it seems that the Elohim, because the terminology for God here is the Elohim, or the gods in the plural, but if here we're referring to the Elohim in the honorific and it's referring to a specific Elohim, then it seems ostensibly that the creation of mankind is in the image of the Elohim. But before, however, we can delve into a full deconstruction of the passage and what really lies behind the symbolism of the text, we first of all have to understand who the Elohim are. And this really is not an easy task, but there are certainly many clues which we can follow, particularly when we study both biblical and apocrypha literature. And this is really what I'm going to try and do. We're going to look at textual evidence and etymological evidence to try and construct and understand better who the Elohim are. Now, the analysis of the question of who or what the Elohim are, in order to answer this, we really need to first of all make a sidestep, and we need to look at who the Ben ha-elohim are, which are the sons of the Elohim. So the Ben ha-elohim literally are the sons of the high ones, or the sons of the high gods, and these are the offspring from the Elohim. So first of all, we're going to look at the Ben ha-elohim and how they procreated with the daughters of man. Now, this is a very famous passage which is taken from Genesis chapter 6, verses 1, 2 and 4. So I'm sure many of my listeners are very familiar with this passage, but I'm going to read this through because I think this is really important when we're actually deconstructing who the Elohim are. So it reads in Genesis, "And it came to pass, when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them, that the sons of the gods saw that the daughters of men," the terminology here is Adam, so these are the Adamic races, "that they were fair, and they took them wives of all which they chose. They were giants," the word here is Nephilim. The Nephilim Giants are closely related astrologically to Nephilia, which is Orion. So they were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of the gods, which are the ha-elohim, now these can be understood to be the fallen angels, came unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them. The same became mighty men, which were the Gibberim, again the Arabic word Gib or Orion. So, and this is again a cross-textual reference to the Nephilim, who were considered to be derived from Orion, which were of old men of renown. So, if we were going to summarise that passage, we can say that the Nephilim are derived from the ha-elohim, the sons of the gods, and the Nephilim are a byproduct of the mixing with the sons of the gods and the daughters of man, or the daughters of the Adamic races. But this question still remains, who are the ha-elohim, the sons of the gods? And to answer this question, we must first of all go back into the Book of Enoch. But perhaps more importantly, we know that the Book of Enoch is quoted in the New Testament in the Book of Jude. And I make this reference because a lot of theologians will say, well, no, the Book of Enoch's not in the Bible and therefore we can't take it seriously. But in actual fact, when we look at the Book of Enoch, it is actually quoted in the Book of Jude. Therefore, certainly within the early church and within the first canon of the New Testament, the Book of Enoch was very prominent, and it was a very important text, and it was considered to be inspired by God. So we're going to have a look at this idea then. And the Book of Enoch is important because it was edited out of the Christian Bible, and it really fills in a lot of the missing gaps in terms of who are the Elohim, who are the ha-elohim, who and what are the seraphim, what is the symbolism of the Ophanim wheels. So again, the Book of Enoch is a very critical and integral text within the Apocrypha and within the concealed tradition, within this redacted tradition. Now, in the Book of Enoch, the prophet states it very clear who the ha-elohim are. And I'm going to read this passage, and I think it's important because rabbinical scholars, when they refer to the ha-elohim, rabbinical scholars understand the ha-elohim, or the sons of the gods, to be the sons of the fallen angels. And I think that this is actually coming from the text of Enoch. So we're going to read Enoch, and we're going to see who the ha-elohim are, because Enoch states specifically who the ha-elohim are. So he's referring to the creation of the Nephilim, which we know are created by the ha-elohim. But he gives another name for the ha-elohim, and this is very revealing. So Enoch writes, "Wherefore have ye, the watchers, left the high, holy, and eternal heaven, and lain with women, and defiled yourselves with the daughters of men, and taken wives, and done like the children of earth, and begotten giants as your sons? And though ye were holy, spiritual, living the eternal life, you have defiled yourselves with the blood of women, and have begotten children with the blood of flesh. And now the giants who are produced from the spirits and flesh shall be called evil spirits upon the earth, and the earth shall be their dwelling." Okay, so we know therefore that the Watchers created the giants, and the Watchers are the same as the ha-elohim. And I think that this is really important to stress here, because the Book of Enoch really is stating that the ha-elohim, the sons of the gods or the high ones, are the same species as the Watchers, who are also referred to as the spirits. Now, I want to go into who and what the spirits are, but the expression spirit in this case is a reference to the ru'akh Elohim, the high spirits, and the high spirits is a metonym for the Jinn. So in other words, the Elohim are also referred to as the ru'akh Elohim, which literally are the high spirits. But the terminology spirit can also be translated as a Jinn, because the old word Jinn also means a spirit. So if you like, the Elohim and the Jinn are metonyms. They're one and the same thing. Now, we know that the Jinn are related to the seraphim because the Old Semitic word serpent is related to Jinn, and the Arabic word jana, to hide. So, and again, we know also that the Hebrew word seraphim is rendered in Arabic and is translated in Arabic typically as a Jinn. So, looking at cross-references etymology, we know that the Watchers are the same as the spirits, and the spirits are understood to be a Jinn, which is a type of dragon or seraphim. Now, this is also important because we really need to, therefore, just to make sure that we're on the right tracks here, cross-reference who the Watchers are. So in the passage of Enoch, the word the prophet uses for the watcher is the etymology erin, a watcher or a shining one. And again, the terminology of erin, a watcher or a shining one, is a synonym of a seraphim. Now, this is not really conjecture, and we know this to be the truth when we look at the testament of Amram. So the testament of Amram is Moses' father, and when he was writing about the erin, he stated that the erin, which is a watcher or a shining one, that they had a face like a viper. And this actually makes sense, because when we look at the watchers, another word for a Hebrew word for the watchers is sopheh, a watcher, and is related to seraph, which is a serpent, and seraph, a fire. So again, the erin, which are the watchers or the shining ones, they are described by Amram as having a face like a viper, and it fits in with the symbology of the seraphim in terms of sopheh, a watcher, and seraph, which is fire. So I want to quote the testament of Amram so that we're in no doubt who and what the watchers are. So this is what he stated. Amram stated, "I looked upon watchers," and he uses the word erin. "I raised my eyes and saw one of them. His looks were frightening like those of a viper, and his garments were multicoloured, and he was extremely dark. And afterwards I looked, and behold, and his appearance and his face was like that of an adder. And this watcher said to me, all his paths are darkness, and all of his work is darkness. And he is in darkness, you see, and he rules over all of the darkness, and I rule over all of the light." Now, again, I think this is highly cryptic, and it's very esoteric. But essentially, when he's talking about darkness and ruling over all of the darkness, he's really talking about the Jinn. And so there is this etymological connection between Sauda, black in Arabic, and Shed, which is a ghost, goblin, ghoul, or Jinn. And again, when he's saying that I rule over all of the light, he's making reference here to the fact that he's a seraphim. As we said before, seraph is a serpent or a non-human angel, and seraph, a fire. Again, as I've stated in my previous videos, this idea that the Jinn are born from fire means that they are one and the same with the seraphim. And again, fire is used as an esoteric signifier of Sirius. So in the Arabic, Sara, which means a spark, is related to Sira, which is Sirius. And again, the seraphim are said to be seraph, a fire, born of fire. They are literally born from Sirius Aster, the scorching star. So the erin, therefore, can be understood to be the same as the seraphim or the Jinn. As we said, they are linked with the ru'akh Elohim, and the ru'akh Elohim, the high spirits, is another metonym for the ha-elohim, which are the sons of the gods. So if we quickly summarise this, we can say then that the Bible, that the Nephilim, the giants, that they are the offspring of the ha-elohim, the sons of the gods, and the daughter of man. And the ha-elohim, the sons of the gods, when we begin to deconstruct textually who the ha-elohim are, we find that the prophet Enoch specifies that the ha-elohim are the same as the sons of the watchers, and the sons of the watchers beget the Nephilim with the daughters of man. So again, there's a cross-reference here which states who the watchers are. And we know from the prophet Amram that erin, which are the watchers or the shining ones, look like vipers. And they are referred to as shining ones by Amram again, which is another esoteric signifier of the Jinn, of the seraphim, or indeed of the ru'akh Elohim, the high spirits. So when we break this down, the ha-elohim are the same as the sons of the gods, which are the erin, the watchers or the shining ones. The watchers or the shining ones, the erin, are said by the testament of Amram, who is Moses' father, to look like vipers, which would put them in the same class of being as the seraphim or the Jinn. And again, it's just useful to quickly go over some of these etymologies. So the erin, who are the watchers, and those who rule over the light, which again is a symbol of Sirius, are designations of the seraphim. And we can again cross-reference this etymologically. So if we look, for example, at the etymology of sopheh, a watcher, the terminology sopheh, a watcher, is related to seraph, a fire. Now, in the book of Amram and the prophet Enoch, he refers to the watchers with the etymology of erin. Erin are the watchers, but it's polymorphic Erin also means the shining ones, okay? So again, the Erin are the same as the seraphim, who can be viewed as the flaming ones, the shining ones. The connotation is of those who were born from Sirius. But again, when we go into the Greek etymologies also, drakon, a dragon, is coming from the root drakain, to watch, and drakain, which is to flash or to gleam. So again, these are root words which are linking into the idea of light and of watching. So again, within symbolism, the dragon is often represented as the flaming eye, which would represent the flaming watchers or the seraphim. So this brings us therefore back to the subject of the ha-elohim, the sons of the gods. And we said before that the ha-elohim, that they copulated with mortals. And we also mentioned that they were described as the Erin, the watchers, or the shining ones. And the terminology, as we mentioned before, that it's identical with the seraphim. They're one and the same thing. So therefore, by deduction, we can say that the Elohim, specifically the ha-elohim, the sons of the gods, are the same as the Erin, the watchers, or the shining ones, which are a seraphim. Now, as I mentioned before, we can say this because in the book of Genesis, the progeny of the Nephilim are from the offspring of the ha-elohim, the sons of the gods. Now, the prophet Enoch actually states that the ha-elohim are the sons of the watchers, but he uses the word Erin, which is a watcher or a shining one, who, in the testament of Amram, who is Moses' father, states that the Erin looks like vipers. And again, the symbolism of the shining one and the watchers is consistent with a watcher or a seraphim. And I think this is another important thing which we need to mention here, because the watchers are also connected to the Elohim, and it's important to recognize that the watchers are one and the same as the Elohim. So for example, when I say that the Elohim are the same as the Erin and the watchers, this is also reinforced within the etymologies. And I want to look at both the Greek and the Aramaic etymologies for a god. So first of all, we can recognise that the watchers, Sopheth, a watcher, Seraph, fire, a shining one, and Seraph, which are the seraphim. So the seraphim angels are the watchers, okay? And we mentioned that the seraphim can be translated as a Jinn or a ru'akh Elohim. But there are other cross comparisons here which are also important. Not only are the seraphim a type of angel represented as a watcher, but the gods also are represented as watchers and are found within the Aramaic. So for example, Elohim gods is related to Erin, the watchers. Again, in Aramaic and Arabic, Yahweh God, which is the Lord of the host, Yahweh Sabaoth, the Lord of the host, is related to the Arabic verb yara, which is to see. Again, within Greek, Theos, God, is related to Theoros, a watcher. So the gods are understood to be a watcher. And as we said before, if we took the etymology of Theos, God, and Theoros, a watcher, the implication is of a dragon, as we said before, drakain, to watch, or drakain, to flash or gleam. Again, within the Aramaic, Yahweh Sabaoth is the Lord of the host. Sabaoth, host, from Saba, an army, is related to Sapha, which is a type of seraph or a viper. So this is the seraphic host. Now, if we wanted, so there are clues, and if you like, to the appearance of the Elohim, and these clues are also found embedded within the name of Yahweh. So for example, if we wanted to deconstruct the name of Yahweh from the book of Exodus, God introduces himself to Moses as Eya Asher Eya, I am that I am, and this is the name which is given to Yahweh, Yahweh being a different transliteration of the original transliteration of Ayeh Asher Eya, I am that I am. And it's a wordplay on the Aramaic word Ayah, a serpent. So Eya is a wordplay on Ayah, which is a serpent. Arabic, Ayal, a goblin. Now, once again, the name Yahweh is highly suggestive of the seraphim. Similarly, the old name for Yahweh in the Torah is El Shaddai, and this can be broken down from the derivative of shed, which is a goblin, ghost, ghoul, or jinn. So again, the implication is that Yahweh Sabaoth is a type of ru'akh Elohim, a high spirit, and indeed he is referred to as a ru'akh Elohim, a high spirit. So in the Bible, Yahweh and his spiritual host, the seraphim, are named as the ru'akh Elohim, the high spirits, which, as I said before, is denotative of the jinn, a spirit from the Old Semitic root, gen, a serpent or worm. Now, as I mentioned before, Arabic commentators translate the seraphim as a jinn. And so the jinn and the seraphim are one and the same thing, in the same way that the ru'akh Elohim can be considered to be an Elohim, and the Elohim are the same as Erin, which is a watcher, which would be Sopheth, a watcher, and Seraph, or the seraphim, which are the flaming angels. Same in the Greek, theos, God, theros, a watcher. So putting the pieces together, when we go back into the name and etymology of Yahweh, we can say that Yahweh is a type of watcher or a seraphim. As I mentioned before, Yahweh Sabaoth, he is the Lord of the seraphic host, and so therefore he is understood to be a type of seraphim. And this terminology is compatible both with the ru'akh Elohim, the high spirits, or a jinn. So, as I mentioned before, in the Bible, Yahweh is referred to as Yahweh Sabaoth, the Lord of the host, a name that encrypts the seraphic host. So, for example, Sabaoth host is a variant of Sava, or Saba, which is an army, implicit of the seraphic host, Sephir, a viper. And as I've said before in all of my videos, Sabaoth, an army, has this connotation of a naval host. So therefore we have the etymology of Sevet, which is a crew of a naval vessel, and Tevar, or Tebar, which is an ark. So again, the ark, again, if we looked at the angels, for example, the angels are viewed as sailors. Malach, an angel, denotes Malach, a sailor. Within the Greek, archon is related to an ark, olkas, which is a large vessel. So the archons have these arks, and these arks are round vessel. They're an ark shape. They're round. Again, within the Judaic traditions, the opening wheels are the carriers of the angels, which are said to be spinning wheels. Now, in this respect, we can say that God, he's referred to as the Lord of the host, but more specifically the Lord of the seraphic host. And the implication, once again, is that he's a seraphim. He's literally a commander of the seraphim. So just that we're clear of who the Elohim are, we can say that they are a species of being that are non-human. And I will quickly summarize the main points which we've made thus far. First of all, if we go back to the traditions of the Nephilim, we can say that the ha-elohim, the sons of the god, are understood to be fallen angels, specifically the seraphim. Now we know this because according to the book of Genesis, the ha-elohim had relations with mortal women and created the bastardized or unsanctioned lineage of the Nephilim, literally the giants. Now, in the Book of Enoch, the ha-elohim, the sons of the gods, they're referred to as the Erin, the watchers or the shining ones. So the ha-elohim are one and the same as the Erin, the watchers or the shining ones. Now, when we want to view who the watchers or the shining ones are, we need to go into the testament of Amram, who was Moses' father. And Amram writes that the Erin, the watchers or the shining ones, looked like vipers. As I mentioned before, the textual evidence is that the Erin, the watchers or the shining ones, referred to alternatively as the ha-elohim, the sons of the gods, are identical to Sopheth, a watcher, nominal of Seraph, a serpent or a non-human angel from Serapha fire. In addition, we can say that in the Book of Enoch, the Erin, the watchers or the shining ones, are referred to as spirits and are referenced as the ru'akh Elohim, the high spirits. Now, as I mentioned before, they can be understood to be a type of jinn. So the word jinn, a spirit, is cognate with the Old Semitic root Jen, a serpent or a worm. So typically the word jinn is translated into Hebrew as a seraph, which literally means a flaming serpent, which the jinn can also be said to be born of fire. Okay, so the jinn are said to be born of fire, which is this astrological marker of Sirius. Again, if we went into the Greek, archons, which are the angels, are related to the Babylonian word akan, which is a type of seraph. So that again, the angels are concordant with the serpent, and the serpents are concordant with the gods. And again, the Malach Elohim, the angels are often referred to as being a type of Elohim. So even the terminology of angel and Elohim are used interchangeably within the Old Testament and within the scriptural record. So breaking down all of this then, particularly in terms of the ru'akh Elohim, the high spirits, and the ha-elohim, the sons of the gods, we can say really that the ha-elohim, the high spirits, are the same as the ha-elohim, the sons of the gods. They are one and the same thing. They are identical to Erin, the watchers, or the shining ones. So all of these terminologies are really interchangeable. The Erin, the watchers, or the shining ones are also known as the seraphim. They are one and the same. Now, as I mentioned before, Seraph for serpent is implicit of Sopheh for watch and Seraph for fire. These are signifiers that correspond in the Egyptian Arabic with the etymology of shofar and appearance. Okay, so again, this idea is that they're spirits, that they're ghosts, that they can dematerialize. Thus, in symbolism, the seraphim angels carries shofar and horn. Again, this is important because if you want to express symbolically a materialization or an apparition, then one way of doing this is using etymologies or word associations which are very similar. So shofar and horn is related to shofar and appearance. And again, I think this would relate in the ancient traditions to the idea that when the angels appear, that there is a sound or a resonance which is actually attributed with the angels, which is horn-like. And again, the horn has all these interesting connotations because the horn was used by writers and scribes, and it would actually contain ink. So again, the prophets can be understood to be linked to it with a type of horn. The horn is also a type of tusk. The etymology of tusk is very closely concordant in Arabic with nabi, a prophet, nab, which is a tusk. Again, the tusk is something which is planted or is grafted into the gum, so it can have these connotations of this grafted bloodline or the planting of a particular bloodline. So there are all these interesting signifiers with the horn within symbolism. But essentially the horn again is one of these signifiers used to represent the jinn. So if we were going to summarize this up, we could say that the Elohim, the gods, are one and the same as Erin, the watchers. And as we said, this is cross-compatible with Yahweh's name and Yara, which is the verb to see. Again, in Greek, theos, God, theoros, a watcher. Again, even if we wanted to go into the Egyptian mystery religions, Ra, which is the sun god, ostensibly Sirah, Sir being a mystery, so Sirah, the mysteries of Ra, equals Sirah, which is Sirius, which has the connotations of Sirah, which is a boat. Hence the Ben Sirah are the sons of the boat, or the sons of Sirius, which can also be represented as the Axari, the brothers of light, which is a diptych paranomasia on Axari, which is a brother of an angel. Again, all of these terminologies are the same. One who is born of a boat is angelic. Since we would say lordship. In Arabic, the Sarif is a lord or a noble, and Seraph. In Greek, we have a nuakos, which is a captain of a vessel, which would be related to an archon. Okay, so these terminologies are all interrelated. In English, we'd say lordship. Lordship connotes one who is born from a boat. Anyway, if we go back into the original etymologies and we look at the Elohim as the gods, and that the terminology is interchangeable with the Erin, which are the watchers, we can see therefore that in Exodus, in the book of Exodus, when Yahweh mentions that his name is Eya Asher Eya, I am that I am, we can say that the abbreviation of Eya, which originally was the transliteration of Yahweh, is a paranomasia on Aya, a serpent, Arabic Ayel, a goblin. Once again, the implication is that the name Yahweh signifies a type of seraphim or jinn, which would be the ru'akh Elohim. As we mentioned before, Yahweh is often referred to as a ru'akh Elohim, a high spirit. Again, the encoding of the seraphim is also repeated in Yahweh's second titular, which is found in the Torah, which is El Shaddai, Almighty God, from Shed, a goblin, ghost, ghoul or jinn. So again, I'm just trying to point out and just summarize why the gods are represented as serpents. And lastly, Yahweh Sabaoth is the Lord of the seraphic host. Sava, an army, equals Sephir, a viper. As already stated, the viper is an insignia of the Erin, the watchers or the shining ones, who are said to look like vipers, by implication a seraphim or jinn. As we mentioned before, Jinn is a serpent or worm. In short, the Erin, the watchers, is another name for the seraphim that are identical to the ha-elohim, the sons of the gods, and the ha-elohim are the same, or can be construed to be the same, as the ru'akh Elohim, the high spirits. So the high spirits again is a species of jinn. So, in general terms, the ha-elohim, the sons of the gods, they are identical to the watchers of the seraphim, which can be understood to be the high spirits. And again, the high spirits are the Jinn or the seraphic host. I want to mention here that the spirits can also be understood to be living creatures. As we said before, the dematerialization of the Jinn are the ru'akh, the high spirits, but they are physically materialized as a elakeh, a living god, a polymorphic word which can also mean a high creature. The elakeh in today's parlance would be equivalent to an extraterrestrial biological entity. So, this is an extremely long diversion, but it brings us back to the subject then of who are the Elohim. And the Elohim, they are created. They created mankind. And in my second video, I'm going to look at the textual evidence of who the Elohim are in context to the creation of mankind. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. I've tried to summarize it as simply as possible, why there is textual and etymological evidence of who the Elohim are. They are construed to be, the ha-elohim are construed to be the Erin, who are the watchers, who are the vipers. And now in the second video we will look at the creation of mankind in context to this knowledge which we have gleaned. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed my video. If you have, please give me a thumbs up. Please remember to subscribe to my channel as well. And please feel free to leave any comments. This is Pierre Sabak. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much. Let's try and make this a better world.